Hey everyone, this is Deri, your guide on living a life of no regrets in this series, and we're going to begin with a countdown at number 6, which was the regret of travel and adventure. So what we're going to cover off today is what did the studies pull out? What does this regret truly mean? I'm going to unpack the reasons that came out. Part of it was travel, and there was a couple of elements to travel and what the adventure/experience thing came out with. More importantly, we're going to dive from that is what is the block? Why do people go out with this regret, and what's the major block? And it's not what you think it is. And finally, in every part of this series, which is what I'm all about, is action, is what we can do about it right now to step into a life of no regrets right now, and leave you with clear action points of what we can do. So let's get into it. So travel. Now, travel came out really strong in all the surveys. It came in different guises, but the main thing was people went out with a regret of not having visited certain places, not having traveled the world, or not having seen the world, is the words that really came out strong. Now, that came out is really weird because some of the studies were quite vague. People just, I wish I'd have seen more of the world. And it wasn't very specific, right? But others had really specified what they wanted. They had wished they had done something. Some of them had a bucket list, a real clear things of what they wanted to do, and they hadn't, either done any of it or hadn't accomplished it. So some were specific, some were general. But it was always about seeing the world, traveling the world. Now, the next, by the way, some of it was in the country. It was like, wish they'd see more of their country. I think the Americans are big for this. You don't have to leave America. The diversity you've got in America is incredible. Same in South America, same in Europe. But the second component of this wasn't just travel. Another component that came out, which was what I'm calling adventure, but what really the words that were coming out with were more experience. A lot of people aren't as crazy as I am, right? So a very small minority were using the adventure word, but more wanted more experiences in life. Now that can be like bungee jumping or swimming with dolphins, that kind of stuff. Real experiences they wish they'd experienced. Adventure did come out in some guys. It certainly does for me. It's obviously one of my biggest ones was adventure. But my adventures aren't just about climbing the highest mountains in the world, running through the desert. It's about experiencing the best this earth has to offer, to truly experience the depths of Mother Nature. That's what my adventures are all about, really. It's more of a spiritual quest now than just a travel quest. So those are the two major components. Now, the interesting thing is, obviously, for people who watch the TEDx, I'm talking about fear. Now, fear is a big block on living a life of no regrets, for a number of the regrets. And as we work down the series, you'll see which ones fear really kick in the most. However, this regret, the block's not fear. The block is actually procrastination. Because you're not scared to go and travel the world. Some people are, by the way. There is a little fear for some people who don't want to, but the majority of people is they just don't get around to it. They don't plan for it. And planning is the big key to all of this, all right? If you think the magic fairy is going to sprinkle some dust on you and you're going to suddenly have seen all the world and all your dreams will come true, it's not true, even if you have the money. But by the way, my dad went out with this one. My dad wanted to travel certain places, and well, not much actually. He wasn't big, but he wanted to go to Egypt, and there was a few other things he wanted to see, and he never did. And obviously he died never having seen those places that he wanted to live. Now, it wasn't because my dad didn't have the money. He wasn't a wealthy man, but he could afford to go and do what he wanted to do. He just never got round to it. He never did it. Now, planning is key to this. You have to be able to plan. Now, when I was on Everest, right, Everest was 5 years of planning. The year before Everest was brutal. It was like a fourth business for me. And the quarter before I went to Everest, just write it off. That's an extreme here, but the planning is necessary. I've just come back from a week's holiday with the kids in Pembrokeshire. That involved planning. I had to plan, all the swimming costumes that the girls need and all. It's just planning. Now, if I didn't plan, if I think I'm just going to wake up one day and suddenly I'm going to travel the world, it's just never going to happen. So what are we going to do about it? So if we understand that that's the regret, and if this is a regret for you, if you're going to go out, remember the big question, the primary question of this, if you went under a bus today, are you happy? Have you seen all you wanted it to be? Now, I don't think this ever ends, by the way. Till the day I die, I think I'm going to be traveling and exploring the world. But have you done everything you need to do so far? Have you seen anything so far? Do you want to see more? So let's just go to work on that. So let's get some action in, shall we? So the first action is you've got to write the list. So many people are vague. I want to travel the world. What does that even mean? The world is so vast and endless. You will never see it, even a tiny fraction of it if you were traveling all the time. So let's get the bucket list down. So the first action you've got to take is let's write the bucket list. Now I've got two big bucket lists, right? One is the Global Adventurers Grand Slam, which a lot of people are aware of. That's running across the desert, doing the jungle marathon, both poles, highest mountains in the world. So that's one of my big bucket lists, and Ironman, that's done now. But over here I've also got my travel bucket list, which is all the places I want to experience in the world and places I want to visit in the world. And that list's on my wall. It's in my journal. It's always, and if I see another thing in a magazine or something, it just gets added. And that's a constant list of something I'm constantly going to be experiencing in the world. So the first thing, you've got to go and do that. So go and do that list. The next point of action is choose one. You've just got to choose the next one. Everyone thinks this is all going to happen in overnight or by magic. It's not. Choose one. I've always just got one. The next one for me, adventure-wise, is the Jungle Marathon next year. It's over a year away, and I'm planning already. Constantly researching and planning and doing bits and bobs. It's not costing me any money yet. I'm out running. I've just come back from running. So it's the constant work and constant evolution towards what the end play is. Equally, the next one, I've just done two major adventures, which is taking the girls to Peppa Pig Land. I shit you not, that is an awesome place to go if you've got kids under 5, and just come back from Pembrokeshire. That was the next. I really wanted my girls to experience my homeland of where I was brought up. So we just spent a week in beautiful Pembrokeshire where I was brought up and I love dearly. But that took a lot of planning, and I've just totally focused on that. And now next, it's going to be Lapland. So I'm only just taking one at a time. That's it. Just take the next one. Now, step 3 is break it down. What are you going to do about it? When's it going to happen? And it's just go research. For a lot of people go, I want to go to Egypt, but they don't even want to look it up. There's this thing called the interwebs, right? Just go in there. The thing is, you've got everything at the tips of your fingers now. Our grandparents, God bless them, those who travelled were amazing, because the stuff they had to do to go and even travel, we can just go on the internet and work out how much it costs and get on a plane. So just start researching, understand the cost, understand what you need to do, start planning for it, start prepping for it, just take the next steps, okay? That's it, we just got to break this down. Now, for those who are like, oh, okay, hang on, Deri, I don't have enough money or everything, this actually came through really strongly after the TEDx. So literally, as I came off stage in the TEDx, a lady came up to me and she thanked me for the talk, and she said, my big regret's to travel. I just really wanted to travel the whole of Europe. She said, I just don't see how I can. I just don't see how that's possible. And I don't know what to do next. That was how she approached it. Now, she could see she was processing a lot of stuff. And I picked up on her accent. I said, where are you from? And she said, Italy. I went, okay, and you want to travel the whole of Europe? Yes. Great, you're doing it. And she looks at me and she went, well, what do you mean? I went, well, you're in Edinburgh. You're from Italy. That's a great first step. You've started traveling Europe. She went, no, you don't understand. I want to travel the whole of Europe. And I said, no, you don't understand. You can't travel the whole of Europe all at the same time. Europe is traveled one place at a time, and you're in the first place. Now, the next steps for her was, I told her to break it down, work out all the cities. Europe, you can't travel Europe. That doesn't even mean anything. Which parts of Europe? Which cities? What do you want to see? You have to break it all. And then what's the next one you want to see? She was in Edinburgh and she was there for a while. I said, can you afford a bus ticket? And she said, yes. Well, it was obvious. She was dressed really nicely. She was in a conference which cost 100 quid. I said, well, you are in Edinburgh. Scotland is one of the most beautiful countries on the earth. I love Scotland, and you've got Loch Lomond close to you here. You have Ben Nevis close to you here. You are surrounded by history and magnificence. Get on a bus and go and experience it. And see, this is the big thing. For a lot of you, you may feel like the next step is a little bit away, all right? And I get it. I hear you. That was what I was like at the beginning of my journeys. So, but start planning for it. But whilst you're planning for it, if it seems far away and it seems like you can't afford that next trip to a city you want to go to or the next trip to a destination, break it back, get it smaller, and more importantly, get it local. I am traveling all the time. I have been traveling today. I live in the beautiful Wye Valley. I've just been off on a run, and every time I go running, I just take a new route. I'm constantly exploring. And by the way, it's going to take me years to discover this valley. I'm never going to get bored of it. If you're in a city like London or Los Angeles or Sydney, you could spend a decade exploring your city. There's so much wonder all around us. And there's so much wonder just locally that we can explore. And I think so much of we're so desperate to go and travel the world, we forget to actually experience the place we're in right now. I know a lot of my friends from Pembrokeshire, they all live in Pembrokeshire and they all want to travel the world. I'm like, Pembrokeshire for me in West Wales is one of the most beautiful counties in the world, and most people have not even explored a fraction of it. So go to work, write your bucket list down, get clear, pick off the next one for you, go to work, start researching, start planning, start getting into it. And whilst you're doing that, whatever that next journey may be for you, go to work and go explore locally. We can be exploring locally, decades of time locally, just exploring what's on your doorstep, and you'd be amazed at what you find. So look, let's not go out with any regrets. If this is one of your regrets, let's go to work and let's travel, explore, and experience the world that it all has to offer. And one thing I'd really, really recommend is go and sample Mother Nature. I know some of that might not be on your bucket lists, but get out into the countryside, get out into the mountains, get out into the hills, get into the valleys, whatever it may be for you. But Mother Nature is so beautiful, and we've lost that connection with her. So many of us have. I'm very blessed that I have got it back now. But go and explore Mother Nature. She's the most beautiful thing on earth.